If you are looking for some hamstring exercises that you can do at home, then stay tuned because I'm gonna walk you through 3 of my favorite leg curls that you can do at home with resistance bands. So what does the hamstring muscle do? It is the muscle on the back side of your leg, and it is responsible for 2 things. It is responsible for knee flexion, which is bending your knee up like I'm doing right now, and then also hip extension, or driving your hips forward, or doing some kind of a bent over movement where you're standing up and thrusting those hips forward. There's 3 muscle groups in the hamstring, and to effectively engage all 3 of them, you need to be doing knee flexion or knee flexion plus hip extension. You cannot train all 3 muscle groups using hip extension alone. So let's jump right in. The first exercise I'm going to show you is a seated leg curl with resistance band. So what you're gonna need is a bench and a low anchor point, as well as a single 41-inch band. I like to work with a lighter band here because we are gonna be folding it in half. And to do that, you're gonna grab your anchor point, slide your band through, split it in half, and then also I'm wearing a pair of ankle straps. So this is a prototype from Clench Fitness that we're working on right now. It's not released. If you want something like this, be sure to drop in the comments that you're interested in these. Otherwise, you can find them pretty much anywhere. They're on Amazon or whatever for 15, 20 bucks or whatever. And they usually have a carabiner on them and a couple of D-rings. To get hooked into this exercise, all you need to do is hook yourself into both sides here, 1 leg per side of the band, and then make sure it's nice and even. And then we want to scoot ourselves far enough away so that we have some good tension here. And then I just kind of back my bench up a little bit. And that's what's nice about these ankle straps, is it's really easy to get in and get hooked up, and it's nice and secure, and you don't have to worry about the band moving around and stuff on you. And then to do this exercise, we're gonna be into a position, make sure that we have good tension at the bottom of the strap. So I don't have enough tension right now. I'm gonna scoot back a little bit more. Now I got some good tension here. Make sure you got a sturdy bench because the band will be trying to pull you off. And then all we're doing here is keeping our knees low, and then we're gonna curl our legs. Big squeeze, and then let it down nice and slow. Now, your body's gonna wanna try to pick your knees up to help do this exercise. I want you to be forcing those knees down and holding them in one spot. And all we're doing is pivoting at that knee joint, big squeeze at the top, and then control the negative on the way down nice and slow. And that is how we do this exercise. And ultimately, if you don't have a set of ankle straps, you can do this with just a single band and hooking it around your shoes, but it might be a little bit less comfortable than using the ankle straps. All right, next exercise is going to be a lying leg curl. So we're gonna use the same equipment that we did on the first one. We got our low anchor point, we have a single 41-inch band, and this time we have it knotted around the anchor point, and we're gonna use it in the single stretch version, not folded in half. And then also you're gonna need a bench, and I'm using ankle straps, but like before, you can set this up without the ankle straps. It's just not as comfortable. So I prefer the ankle straps, especially if you're gonna get heavier. And I'm using a purple band, which is average or intermediate resistance for these lying leg curls. To hook this up, super simple. You're gonna just grab one side of the band, hook it into your carabiner. Same thing on the other side. Make sure everything's nice and loose and easily able to move because we're gonna take up some slack here. Walk yourself out. And then you're gonna get yourself right onto this bench. And like I said before, we wanna make sure we have tension. So I'm pulling myself here. Now the band is pulling my legs into that straightened position, and I'm gonna keep my knees nice and tight. And I hang my knees off the end of the bench just a little bit so that we can get good knee flexion and range of motion without hurting our kneecaps. And then I like to drive my hips down into the pad. So when you're doing this, you're gonna feel like you're gonna wanna pick your butt off of this pad to help you out. Try to fight that. Push those hips into the pad, and then we're gonna just slowly curl this up. Big squeeze. Make sure you're getting full range of motion, full flexion, and then let it down nice and slow to the point where that tension just starts to back off. and then right back up. Big squeeze, pushing those hips into the pad, and then let it down nice and slow. These babies, it's all about time under tension. You're not going to have a lot of resistance at the bottom of this rep, but you're going to feel it a lot at that peak contraction. So really squeeze these out at the top and then control that negative nice and slow on the way down. Last exercise here, we're going to combine the knee flexion and hip extension by doing suspended leg curls. Now this one's a little bit of a doozy, but if you can set it up, I promise you it is worth getting into and doing this exercise. So what you're going to need, I'm using a clench anchor strap here and a high anchor point. So like if you have a door at home and you pinch this anchor strap, that's gonna be almost the perfect height. And then you're gonna need 2 heavy 41-inch resistance bands. And you want these to be heavy enough to support your body weight, because we're gonna be hooking our heels into this and laying on the floor. So I'm about 230 pounds, and I find that a pair of blue bands seems to do the trick. So if you are maybe like in that 150 to 200 pound range, green bands would probably do the trick. And I wouldn't really recommend anything less than a green band for this. So probably greens or blues are gonna be what you're gonna wanna use. To set this up, grab yourself a mat, and we're gonna lie down on the floor. And this is the tricky part, is getting into it. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna put one foot up and hook it into the blue band, and then you're gonna lay back and do the other thing as well. Hook your other foot into this band, and then you have to slide yourself back just a little bit, like an inchworm, and get your feet into this. And what we're gonna do from here now is we're gonna get ourselves into a suspended plank position. So you're gonna pull up, get that hip extension. So we're driving our hips forward, using our core here. You're gonna feel it a lot in those glutes, and the hamstrings are gonna start to engage. And then once you get into that flat plank position, suspended plank, we're going to do a leg curl. Pulling our knees and extending those hips. So driving the hips forward and flexing the knees. Big squeeze. And then let it down nice and slow. Same thing here. Big squeeze, full extension with those hips. And then back down. And you'll find that you're probably gonna be able to get maybe a half dozen, maybe a dozen reps here, but it's going to be nice and hard, and you're gonna feel those hamstrings just getting fired up. And that is how you do the suspended leg curls. All right, so that last exercise may not look very hard, but I promise you it is super difficult. You could hear me, I could barely talk and do the reps at the same time. So I encourage you to give these a try and let me know what you think down in the comments. Also, let me know what you thought of the other 2 leg curl exercises. I hope you have a chance to give all these a try and put them into your workout routines. As always, if you liked what you saw today, be sure to check out these on-screen video links to go to more videos like this on our channel. We would appreciate it, and hopefully you can continue to learn more. Also, be sure to smash that like button, hit the subscribe button if you want to see more of this and get notified every time we launch new content. And furthermore, if you need any of the bands or accessories you saw today, please head over to clenchfitness.com and we will hook you up. And thank you for watching.